Karibu tena. Of course, hii ni ile show unapendanga kila Friday from 8 to 9 p.m. Youth Cafe. Na hii ni open mic. Of course, conversation ina revolve around crime for passion. Kuna incident imefanyika hii wiki na of course itakuwa kama case study yetu. Tunabonga juu ya Michael Kombe mwenye relationship yake ilienda south. Pale ambapo demu yake aliamua mada. So conversation itakuwa ina revolve around your stuff. #Youth Cafe. Lakini tuko ndani ya studio, of course tuko na guest na kuna mwingine anatujoin kwa phone. Tuko na Roberta Bobby Sasa.
Hey Sasa.
She's not a stranger to this show.
Exactly.
Yeah. Welcome back. I feel like you're amazing and young people really relate to you and your blog. So thank you so much for coming on air today and really helping us dissect this conversation.
I'm glad to be back.
Thank you. And of course, joining us by way of phone is James. James has an interesting story that he'll be sharing with us this evening. And James really is one person, I must say, is the definition of confidence. Actually, not so very many young men who are in abusive relationships always come out and tell their story. Why? Because it's always women who are the ones in abusive relationships. So we forget that our boys or our men are also in that atmosphere, right? So James, if you can hear me, first of all, good evening. Thank you so much for coming on to Youth Cafe and even really choosing to share your story with young people. Paint for us an image how what that abusive relationship did to you.
Okay, I hear you.
All right.
I'm James, and so I'm a victim of this relationship whereby, you know, sometimes if you have a campus life, sometimes you decide to, when you get your hostel, let's say, you know, sometimes of campus there are people live in campus and some others live off campus. So most of the time, you get your place, then you decide to move in with your girlfriend. So that happened to me. I decided to move in with my girlfriend. Then after some time, there are, you know, in relationship, arguments are always there. So kulikuwa na lots of arguments and disagreements. And, you know, it's better, in this world, it's better for girls mgombane na ishe instead of her kunyamaza. So she kept quiet after the argument, and after some times when I was not aware, it just hit me on my head. And I fell down, and I was rushed to the hospital because alinipiga huko nyuma kwa kisogo. You know, that's a very central point.
Yeah.
So I just fell, nikapelekwa hospital, and after some times I recovered, and yeah, that thing has been really in my mind for a very long time.
Ebu niambie Jemo, hii stuff ili affect relationship yako? Hiyo relationship ili end soon after ama ulikaa kwa hiyo relationship kiasi yake?
Yeah, after sometimes my friends when advise wakaniambia it's not good kuendelea in this relationship because kama amekufanya hivi inamaanisha like anaweza fanya anything worse than that. Sababu honestly mtu kukupiga honestly kwa kisogo and all inamaanisha that person was intending to do like kuumiza kabisa, like kuangamiza kabisa. So what I did, I decided to like take a break for some time, but because the young I used to like that girl, so I had just to talk to her and solve issues. So we dated for like, after that incident, we dated for like almost 2 months, then now we broke up for good.
Na mliendelea kuishi kwa nyumba moja ama?
Yeah, we continue living in the same house for those 2 months, but after sometimes we just decided to end hiyo kitu kabisa because niliona most of the time we still argued and such things.
I know, right? Yeah. And the thing is that this is really popular within not only our university campuses, but even outside of it. It's happening, right?
It is. People are just scared to talk about it.
And the fact that even our men are scared to talk about it.
Because men face ridicule more than help. You know, because if someone came to you and told you, my girlfriend beats me up, it seems funny, but it's not funny. It's something that's actually a huge problem right now. Yeah.
All right, so joining us from our A&M studios, it's Dr. Oscar Givio, who's a forensic psychologist. Dr. Oscar, thank you so much for joining us here on Youth Cafe. Allow me to just jump straight into this. When it comes to abusive relationships that we're seeing, this is something from a psychological point of view, a thought that one has entertained, because you don't wake up tomorrow and beat your loved one, someone that you claim to love. This is a thought that one has entertained for quite a while.
Thank you so much, Zinzi. Thank you for having me. And one of the things I can say is that not only has it been entertained, abusive relationships have a pattern, and they actually have a way that they develop. So you'll not just find out that your person is violent on one day. Normally what happens is that they have signs, mostly like verbal signs. They start threatening you. They start telling you they don't like your friends. All of a sudden they don't like what you wear. They don't like who you talk to. They want to spend all their time with you only. And they tell you they're doing that because they love you. But then in reality, they're trying to control you as well as isolate you. So by the time someone is hitting you, normally there's some signs. And I know later on in the program we'll talk about what are some of those signs and what leads to that as well.
Right, and really, Dr. Oscar, allow me to really tap on our men/boys. And tonight we have James who has just shared with us his remarkable story, and he was confident to talk about it. Why is it so difficult for our men who are in abusive relationships to come out and talk about it, equally to even leave those abusive relationships?
Well, I think, Zinzi, abuse is abuse. And no matter where it falls, whether it's for men or women, our culture is partly to blame, honestly. Because can you imagine if a man that you really revere or someone you look up to comes and tells you they're being beaten by their girlfriend or by their wife or by their partner, there's a sense that society will laugh at him and ridicule him. I heard you guys talk about that. And what is difficult about that is it makes us as men want to actually hide. Mm-hmm. But in reality, men are also going through a form of abuse that might not be physical, but one that is actually very psychological, verbal abuse. There's a lot of abuse that's going on that they don't talk about. And they will always dismiss it and say, oh, when women love someone, maybe that's how they are. And so because of that, men feel like they cannot leave this trap that they're in. And I like to call abusive relationships also a form of being taken hostage. And that's what's really going on with our people.
Dr. Oscar, you've touched on just likely on the issue of signs. One, they start telling you things they don't like, your dressing, your friends. They sort of try and alienate you from your social circles. And we tend to ignore these signs, even though we do know that they are there. What other red signs are there that we need to really keep an eye on?
The thing about abuse is that it starts from really far. And someone starts deconstructing your persona, who you are as a person. Zinzi, you have to imagine, and I know there are many stories that our viewers have actually seen, where there was probably someone with high self-esteem, a girl or a boy or a young man, a young woman, but then over time, they're in a toxic relationship. Then all of a sudden, they don't even know themselves. The problem with that is that now we're talking about deconstruction.
Right.
You're deconstructing their personality. I tell you that, oh, I don't like the way you look. Your family is not enough. And that's what normally happens. Those are some of the signs you can look at.
Mm-hmm. James, who is joining us by way of phone, some of those signs that Dr. Oscar has really pointed out for us, were you able to see them in your relationship?
Yeah, most of the time I like gymming, but most of the time she'll tell me she doesn't want me to go to the gym. She just wants me to stay with her. And yeah, most of the things that Dr. Oscar is saying, most of them are actually true. So I tend to believe most of the time she will try to control me, or when I'm going to the gym, she will go with me just to check if I'm meeting any person or doing anything wrong. So most of the time, I tend to agree with Dr. Oscar because honestly, the things that he pointed out is the same things that I used to see in my relationship.
Wow. All right. So joining us also here in studio is Rosemary Njeri, yet another confident person who has come out tonight. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so grateful.
Rose, quickly, in about 2 minutes, tell us your story and how you really came out from that.
Okay. So I got pregnant when I was a teenager, and we jumped into marriage so fast. Mm-hmm. We had been dating for around 3 years. Mm-hmm. So we were so in love. And then we got a second baby. From there, that's when drama started.
Right.
So there was this abusive language, coming home late, not financing us, not doing anything. And then it came to a point, he even had to hit me. So it was really bad, but I was like, I want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, a woman who'd stay even when things go bad, and I'd even wait, but things wouldn't change. So I never did tell anyone. So it happened one night, he got a text from his ex, and so I asked, what's wrong? What's happening? You said you'd stop. So he just got mad from nowhere. He started hitting me so hard, and we were living in a single room. So I went to the floor on the carpet, I slept there. After like around half an hour, he woke up, took the knife, and just started tearing off my clothes, up to the last cloth, up to my innerwear. So I was left naked. It was around 3 a.m. I couldn't go because my kids were there. I had nowhere to go. And this guy was just going crazy. So I just sat there, I cried. I didn't have any clothes, and he said I shouldn't wear any clothes. So I had fear inside me. I didn't know what to do, who to go to. And I never shared any experience about this to anyone.
So mimi ningependa tu kujua kitu moja. Shida unaona shida huko nini? Shida huko ni venye mna communicate ama shida huko ni venye yani nafika tu mahali msi anaanza kukua maybe possessive because alikuwa afika mahali mpaka anakani kama mko married ama stuff kama hiyo. Hebu tuambie shida huko nini exactly?
Number one, shida inakuwa kwanza upbringing. Unajua Kenya unaonesha mtoi akiwa mdogo ndivyo atakuja kuishi kuona. Kama mse ameishi kwa family maybe imekuwa na violence and what not, si haunikani kitu mbaya. Number two, kuzoeana sana. I think inaletaga issue ati I can do anything, you're nothing. Alafu mtu akikujua ndani tena sana, and pia kukosa respect because you just can't do that.
Roberta, wewe unafikiria shida huko nini exactly? Because umesikia the first 3 years ilikuwa infatuation stage. Mnapendana kama what me. Unaweza kufa like literally juu ya uchali ama juu ya udem. Lakini afika mahali kuna kuwa na issues kwa relationship. To share with us.
I think it has so much to do with communication. And what she says, upbringing, because it's a cognitive thing. Because you think someone is okay, but how you start to see how they act. And then the violence starts coming in and you wonder, but when you're the one who's in love, you don't want to walk away because you're feeling like, no, I can fix things, I can. Yeah. And someone, Big Ted told me, you can't fix someone, you're not God. And this has happened to me before, and I always stayed because I thought, okay, maybe I'm the one who can try and make things better. Maybe, you know, you try and give yourself many excuses, but what she said about upbringing and communication, it has a lot. I think it has a lot to do with.
Wacha tudunde mtaani kidogo tusikie vile watu wanasema. Basi kila wiki siwenda mtaani ku make sure that tuna get information kutoka kwa wasee wenye wako huko nje pia. Nilikutana na wasee kibao hii weekendi na hii wiki na nikaona mazijo lazima nitashare kile tuli experience. Check his story.
I think, first of all, that people are abusive because they are possessive, controlling people. They just want everything to be about them, and they want their partner to only be about them. You know, people can be crazy jealous, and sometimes it's actually because of love and genuine love.
I wouldn't want to stay in a violent relationship because, first of all, you have to have self-respect for yourself. So if someone is abusive, or they don't treat you the way that you're supposed to be treated, then I don't think it's a relationship that's worth staying in.
Personally, I wouldn't stay in an abusive relationship like that because that person is mostly gonna dictate my life and I can never have friends or be social. I'll just be an introverted person and that's not who I am. So it will change my personality and I don't need to be dealing with that.
If you understand your spouse on a deeper level, then I don't think anything will go wrong.
I would not stay in an abusive relationship because I value my life. And eventually, you may die if you stay with an abuser.
I think people should be cancelled because people normally get into relationships without being cancelled and stuff.
I wouldn't stay in an abusive relationship because, I mean, at the end of the day, it damages more than you see outwards.
Mmeona wase wameamua wataongea kuhusu hizi issues. Hakuna haja tuchome ndishken na pia tuchome souls zetu. Tumerudi ndani ya studio. Mwanzo mimi nataka kutuambia kitu moja. Parents who react aje wakishasikia hizi stories. Ama parents who sikia hizi stories when, because in the first stages of your relationship unasemanga wacha ni fix vitu kwanza alafu nitabonga na maparo. So hebu niambie maparo who come which point in the story?
Okay, I think you have to have a relationship with your parents first. Me, okay, I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to my parents about basically everything that goes on in my life. Nikiona shida, I tell my mom, I tell my dad. But so many people don't have that kind of relationship with their parents, so it's a bit difficult. Maybe siku moja ataona blaka ya kuulize, what's wrong? But I don't think people really talk to their parents about these things.
Rosemary, able to show, unafilaje maparo get to understand this story yenye wase go through kwa relationships zao?
Personally, miss kwa iongea. I never talked until just recently. Na ile time mzazi alikuja kujua, it was the last minute. Kwenye saa nilichapiwa kwa barabara. And I had no option. I had to call anyone who was close. And hiyo time ndio saa mother alihave kujua, and even the mother to the other guy.
James, for you, who was the very first person that you spoke to? The first person you opened up about the abusive relationship you were in?
First, my parents were there. Even Pakistan, my parents never knew what happened. Because first of all, me kuana, as in, kuweka dem kwa nyumba, that's a crime kwanza. Hiyo what I knew for that. Then the other thing is, I didn't want to worry them so much. So it's just my close friends though walijua hii stuff. And you know, honestly, as in, I saw pia nilikuwa aibu, like, wambia wase ati my girlfriend amenipiga things to do with that. So I tried to keep it as in to myself, my just close friends. When walikuja kunibeba hata ndio walijua. Not I can say like only 5 people knew about the incident.
James, did you think that you could change her?
Yeah, but honestly, ati the girl ni mtu mbaya, ni venye sikio sijui what happened, and Mikali just snap na akaamua tu kuativo. Because after that I apologized and things went back to normal, but you know, sometimes unaweza dhani unataka kuchange mtu, but huwezi jua maybe that's how she is. Akikasirika ndo anaonyesha her dark side. So most of the time you just trying to avoid such people.
Dr. Oscar, why do you think that people tend to stay in abusive relationships? You know it's unhealthy for you. You want to leave, but you can't leave. What is it? What makes us stay in those unhealthy relationships?
Wow, that's a very, very deep question, Zinzi. And I think, first of all, even before I answer that, I'd like to say thank you to both James and Rosemary for coming out on national TV and talking about something very intimate and close to them. I believe strongly that it's going to help other young people to learn that it's happening, and they can actually seek help and they can talk about it. Why do people stay? There are a lot of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons, as a psychological reason, is because maybe you think someone can support you. For many women we've seen, maybe because of financial reasons, the man is supporting them. For someone like Rosemary, you know, the fact that they had children together, people tell each other that, you know, because of the children, that's why I'm going to stay. Then you also find that there's that psychological thing, which I try to explain to people and tell them that the person who abuses you and actually assaults you has taken something from you. And you stay because they're the only one who can bring it back to you. They're the one who took your esteem.
Yeah.
They took away your pride. They've taken away your identity. And many times for us, that's why people stay. Of course, there are many other cultural reasons. When people are getting married, they're saying vows, they say, till death do us part. Unfortunately, that might actually be the real reason. They might be killed by their spouse. We've seen that.
Yeah. Dr. Oscar.
But we actually see many other reasons like those ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have one question via Twitter by Nyawira, and she says, could you please speak of the prevalence of emotional abuse and how that gets into physical abuse? So there's always that emotional aspect before the hand comes through? Oh, yes. Zinzi, I think like I'd said in the beginning,
we begin from the emotional perspective, where someone starts putting you down, they start telling you that. But according to the Twitter, the person who's tweeted that, in terms of prevalence, I can't be confident about data that we can actually quote, but I can confidently say in places where we've seen, like in the urban areas of Nairobi, we're talking about a 30% prevalence, which means 1 in 3 people in relationships is being abused. And that's a high number because everybody's trying to be in a relationship, everybody's trying to be loved by someone. But if that's how it's looking, we probably need to look at how are we loving people? How do we learn how to be together with people? Who teaches people how to be in love or to be in relationships? And we're missing the point. A long time ago, we had parents, we had aunties, we had old people who could tell us. But nowadays, we don't have the social support. So you love someone you met on Facebook or you love someone you met at the club, but you don't want anybody to know about who they are. And that's a problem. We're isolating ourselves in our small love kingdoms.
Wow. All right. That's quite powerful right there. Okay. So let's just quickly jump into your say, and we always ask you to send us your WhatsApp videos in regards to what we're talking about. And this is what you had to say about this week's topic, which is crime of passion. Take a look.
Siwezi kaa kwa a violent relationship because if it means physical injury ama death kama huyo msee wa Ruji vile aliuliwa, honestly siwezi kaa kwa violent relationship.
One of the reasons why people stay in violent relationships is because they think that things will get better. But personally, I wouldn't stay in a violent relationship.
Watu wa violent relationship huwa kunakuwa na mistrust sana. And then hao watu wana live in constant fear sana.
I wouldn't stay in a violent relationship because I believe people don't fight what they like. So if you fight me, then I don't think you like me.
All right, so those were your thoughts. Roberta, I just want to hear from you quickly. And you touched on the issue of parents.
Yeah.
And you having a healthy relationship with your folks.
Yeah.
Not so many people have that advantage. And Rosemary talked about how for her she had that pressure of being the Proverbs 31 woman. And we've heard Dr. Oscar saying that, you know, it's death do us apart, right?
Yeah.
There's that social pressure, don't you think so?
There is, because you want to remain an amazing couple with this person. You don't want people to see that you're falling apart behind closed doors. But I realized in the relationship I was, that was what made everything crumble. Because you put on a show for everyone else. You don't want people to know what's happening, which is ideally what should happen. But then again, you see, you don't deal with the issues that are stemming from what you're going through. And sometimes even talking to people doesn't really help that much. I think it needs to be you. It needs to come from you. You need to get to the point where you say, I'm done with this. I need to save myself before you get to where people are coming to pick your body because someone stabbed you, you know. But it's not easy. It's not easy to wake up and just leave. It takes a lot.
Wasa niulize Rosie, ulilearn kitu kutoka kwa hiyo relationship yako? Like after everything, did you get a lesson? Na hiyo lesson inaweza kuwa ni nini exactly?
Yes, I did. And lesson ilikuwa, you should know your worth. No one should tell you that you're not good. Hakuna mtu anafaa kukupiga, hakuna mtu anafaa kujaribu kukuua. You should know your worth, and if things are not good, do it for yourself. So watu hapo nje wanemkopoa, mko na relation, other people happy.
All right, James, what about you? What was that one thing, a lesson that you learned that you'd want someone to learn tonight?
Yeah, it's just that before you make others people happy, make sure that you yourself, you're comfortable and you're happy. As in, you stay fresh yourself uko nje uone any couple goals na vitu kama hizo. Alafu wewe mwenyewe unaumia and you're not finding the place comfortable. So before you start pleasing others uko nje, you must make sure that you yourself, you're very comfortable and you're very happy in everything or in the relationship. So that's what I just learned.
Dr. Oscar, where does one start? Fine, we've seen the signs, there's the emotional abuse aspect. How do you start talking to someone that, yes, you are confident in? Where do you think that first step should come through?
Wow, that's a really good place to begin. For me, it begins with friends. The one person you can be a confidant to, the person who knows you inside out. I want to also extend that and also support Roberta when she says about family. Your family is going to be the next place you can go. Of all people on earth, they're the only ones who will never throw you away permanently. They might look like they're angry at you, but they will not. And so I think that we can begin by talking to our very close friends, to our family members, and then also, if we don't have those, we can speak to a professional. Now Kenya is getting to the point where we have enough counselors and psychologists you can speak to, and they'll actually advise you on what to do. And one of the things I can tell the nation today is that the one thing you should not do is tell them that you're leaving. Because studies have shown that the time that you're most likely to be abused is when you're actually saying that you're leaving. So if you're going to leave, talk to your family friends, talk to your family, and then plan to leave without telling the abuser that you're leaving. Because I can assure you, if you tell them you're leaving, you're going to be assaulted.
Wow. Okay. Plan to leave without telling the abuser that you're leaving. All right.